And so when she told me this day that she had cancer, I knew she was going to die.
Oh my God.
And my whole world crumbled. Through that experience, there was a lot of sexual trauma. There was physical abuse, emotional abuse. It was an absolute nightmare. I understand how slippery DV can be for people that are, I just get it. It's an overwhelming sense of rage, and he could definitely have killed me. It's not the beauty stuff, and it's not the exercise, and it's not the eating, and it's not even just the boundaries. It is literally undoing these parts that we thought we had to do to survive.
Yeah.
You are so worthy without any of that. We do lots of things that are unconventional, right? Like we don't sleep in the same room. We haven't for the last 14 years. I don't share a bathroom with him, wardrobe.
Why is that? Welcome, Zoe Marshall, to No Business Being a Castano. So this episode, we're missing one half of the Castanos. He's unfortunately sick.
Was he scared?
I think he was. I think
He was
I think he like looked
intimidated.
at the name of your book and was like, "Wait a second,
She's going to get real deep.
Yeah,
she's going to reveal
yes.
things. She's going to probe me.
Yes.
Oh, probe was a weird word. Yes.
But he's not here. But you have me. You have the better half.
I'm so excited. Like, I actually did want to see that dynamic in person because it's so unique. But we'll do that another time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I want to have you
And
back.
you've got this.
I do. I've got this.
Got
This is
this.
going to be a great chat. I'm so excited for it.
Me too.
So, everyone starts off a podcast with like, tell us a bit about your past, tell us about your upbringing, all the rest of it. I want to know, what is the biggest, like, I guess, can I say, fuck up that actually like made you who you are today? Like the lowest of the low moment.
Oh my God, there was the lowest of the lowest of
Yes.
the low was my mum. I'm an only child.
So am I.
Are you?
Yes.
And it was just me and mum. Were
Okay.
you? Did you have
my parents, both my
together?
parents. Yeah.
Lucky you. Securely attached queen.
Yes.
Me and my mum enmeshed. I was severely anxiously attached to her as a child. And she really struggled financially. She worked 2 jobs. Life was tough. So I had a very overwhelmed, stressed mother that shared my care occasionally with my dad every second weekend, but I didn't feel as comfortable there.
And
so
where was this?
Where?
Where? Yeah.
So this is in Sydney.
Okay.
It's all such a strange scenario, but my grandmother would help her. And we grew up always just us against the world. I never even learned how to drive because she would drive me to work and wait for me and pick me up and drive me home. Like it was literally us.
Okay, that sounds a little bit like my parents. Like they would always drive me. I went through the same sort of thing. They put me through university, had to do the 6 years double degree.
Oh.
No questions about it. Had to do that.
Oh, quite strict?
Very strict. Not like super, super strict, but they were strict. And my parents would drop me off to interviews and they would be like, so how did it go? Prep me before the interviews, all the rest of it, Macquarie Bank, all the rest, like it was full on. So yes,
It's
your mum
similar,
was like
but I
that.
guess my mum wasn't there to do anything other than just be with me. She didn't like probe me this word today.
It's just, it's coming natural.
Someone is wanting to be probed.
Yeah.
But she got diagnosed with cancer when I was in my early 20s. And I knew the day that she told me, I knew that she was going to die. And if I'm really honest, I knew prior to that, because of this incredible bond we had, I knew that I wouldn't have her forever. I used to always say to her every night when she'd put me to bed, promise you won't die, promise you won't leave me. And this was before she had cancer, right, as a little girl.
Okay.
And so there was something in me that knew. And so when she told me this day that she had cancer, I knew she was going to die.
Oh my God.
And my whole world crumbled. But that wasn't the rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
She did die within 18 months. And I was so desperate to find safety in the world. I was incredibly vulnerable. and was the perfect candidate for a very charismatic yet dangerous person who became my partner.
Mm-hmm.
And through that experience, there was a lot of sexual trauma. There was physical abuse, emotional abuse. It was an absolute nightmare. But the cherry on top was a betrayal by my family within that context. So everything that my ex was saying to me, like, no one loves you, you're worthless, all of the things, was being made true by other people's actions, which were coming from grief, right? Like, we'd lost this person that was the cornerstone of our family and everyone was freaking out. But the rock bottom was wanting to die so desperately to be rid of the pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I needed the death, the betrayal, the abuse, the trauma. I didn't know once I was even out of it how to rebuild. Does that make sense? Like, such a sense of self was destroyed.
Yeah.
And so I would say that feeling truly isolated in the world and like I had nothing or nobody, and I didn't even know who I was anymore. I didn't know where to begin, and that all felt terrifying. It felt easier to not be here than go into the pain of what was ahead of me.
Yeah.
Because, generally you're surviving when you're in those traumatic situations. It's kind of when you get out.
Yeah.
And it took me months and months and months to leave him. When I got out was when the pain like truly hit. It was like this flood, this wave of trauma.
Yeah, for sure. I think I can definitely relate to that in the sense of, with my marriage and, with Jono, during our marriage, it was towards the end, it was like fight or flight sort of mode. You go into this highly sensitive, highly
reactive.
Exactly. Reactive to anything, like walking on eggshells kind of vibes. And when you suddenly get out of it, you do like all
You're
this
so
pain.
shocked, right?
Yeah,
like, who did I become?
Yeah.
How did I become that? Because this is the thing with radical self-acceptance. You have to look at your part in that. In all of those elements, with what happened with my family, who was I in relation to that? With my ex, I was the worst version of myself with him. Like, the rage in which I would get to being with him terrified me so much because I knew that I could cross that red line and do something I couldn't take back.
Absolutely.
I understand how slippery DV can be for people that are, I just get it. It's an overwhelming sense of rage, and he could definitely have killed me and I could have definitely have killed him for sure.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird thing to talk about to you right now.
Yeah,
And here, no, because it's such a different chapter of the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not literally.
No.
But do you know what I mean? It just feels like a different human.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess you sort of have that like out of body moment looking at yourself being like, who was I? But then also it's sort of like, how much blame do you put on yourself? How much do you feel like you're responsible for being in that situation? And how do you sort of switch that to be like, no, that is that person.
Yeah.
They
well,
put
you
me through
believe it because they are quite literally gaslighting you into believing that everything that you are doing is wrong and that you're bringing this punishment, this pain, this sexual assault, this hitting, this strangling, choking, dragging. You've done it. If you didn't behave like that, if you weren't such a whore, if you weren't such a this, I wouldn't have to treat you like that. So you go around in circles and it's like, well, I guess I did fight back. I guess I did say the wrong thing. I guess I am responsible. And it's not until you're out of that, the true responsibility, which was, I was in a really scary, isolated, lonely, desperate situation. And this person knew I was perfect for him to control and manipulate. And somewhere along that, me trying to survive, this is what's really interesting about it. Maybe if I didn't have him, would I just have killed myself? you know, because of the pain of my mother. I always said to her, if you're not around, I won't live without you. Was this a distracting element, as painful as it was, that kept me going, that taught me all of these other lessons, this resilience, like true resilience?
Yeah.
And obviously there's parts of that trauma that are still residual,
Of course,
you know, in me.
Yeah. But you learn.
Oh my gosh, I
with
learned
it.
about
You learn.
me.
Yeah.
All of that. Like, you know, you'll hear it a million times that no one would take it back. And I don't think I would, because I wouldn't be here with you.
Yeah.
With this kind of life, with this outlook, with any of this, without that experience.
Of course. That's so inspiring. Wow. Yeah, I definitely, for myself as well, went through that during the breakup of
I'm
my
sorry.
marriage. Yeah. No, it was, terrible. And, you know, everyone has their version of trauma. And I think the way that you explain that and being able to sit here and talk about that is just so inspiring to myself, to listeners out there, to go through such a traumatic experience and to be like, no, I'm me, and I found myself, and I found that resilience in me. And that's what trauma is. It's, you know, when you get on the other side of it and you truly process everything that you've gone through, the strength inside of yourself and knowing that, it kind of makes you like bulletproof.
It's a strange thing when you say that, because my son came to me last night. He's just something else, this kid. He's 7, and he said to me, how do I give this to you without giving too much context? He was like, something really sad happened that involved both of us 2 years ago, and he still has moments where he gets deeply upset by it. And last night, out of nowhere, he says, "Are you damaged, Mama?" And I was like, it's such a beautiful question, but how do I answer this? And I said, yes and no. And I said, are you damaged? And he said, no. And I said, that's beautiful. And I went to bed, and I had all of these really intense dreams about this situation, and woke up, and I got to tell him all about the dreams. And I got to tell him about how my subconscious was processing all of the things, all of the damage that he got to bring up the night before.
Yeah.
And that we have to feel our pain. We have to express our pain so we move through it and we learn from it.
Yeah.
And he and I had this beautiful moment where I said to him, like, I can hold your pain for you, and I know you can hold my pain for me. And I want him to grow up, especially with, you know, this epidemic of male suicide in our country, to know that all of this is okay. Like, all of the feelings, all of it, none of it is shameful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really beautiful moment last night.
That's
just
so
tying on to what you
beautiful.
were talking about.
Yeah. I think, well, I did. I grew up in a household where nothing was ever wrong.
Oh
So,
God, you poor thing.
Yeah, nothing was ever wrong. Everything was, if there was a argument, fight through my parents. And I feel like I was that like middle
Buffer.
Yeah, always. Not that they fought all the time.
No,
not that it
but
was
you
a
were the
bad upbringing or anything, but I was, whenever it did happen, I was that middle person linking them. And I think I took on a lot of that in the sense of like, I'm like a people pleaser. I identify myself as that, and I've worked so hard to be able to, you know, fill my own cup before anyone else's.
It's the hardest thing.
It is. It really is. When you're a child, an only child as well, I think that's what it was. And having to manage your parents' relationship sometimes. Oof. I manage, and I feel, and I catch myself sometimes trying to manage a lot of relationships. Like Jono and my current partner, Jono and his partner, if he's going through something, like I feel.
And then you abandon yourself and what is actually going on for you, because you're focused. Oh my God, I'm not trying to like interview you.
No.
But it's such a common thing that we'll see with all women, because number one, that's how girls are raised.
Yeah.
Keep it polite, keep it simple, cross your legs, don't disrupt, do all the things. Mm-hmm. And then your neural pathways from 0 to 7 have witnessed your parents making you a buffer where you're like, if I do this thing, or if I'm a really good girl, or if I make a funny joke, or if I like, they will stop.
Yeah.
and then you grow up thinking that's how you have to be in the world. It is exhausting.
Absolutely.
And it strips away your sense of self.
Yeah.
And then you have to do all this fucking work to be able to stand in who you truly are. And like allowing them to be disappointed, they're not going to die.
Yeah.
Allowing Jono or your boyfriend or whoever to be figure it out.
Yeah.
Like you don't have time to waste on anyone else. You've done this for 36 years.
Yeah.
It's your time.
Yes.
You know, and we really need, people think it's selfish. But I have this workshop on the weekend and it's called
I did see that, yeah.
It's called How to Love Yourself because that is it. It's not the beauty stuff and it's not the exercise and it's not the eating and it's not even just the boundaries. It is literally undoing these parts that we thought we had to do to survive.
Yeah.
You are so worthy without any of that. And that's really confronting and really sad a lot lot of the time of how much we've missed out on.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, I've gone through a physical transformation myself, like lost 24 kilos.
Wow.
Yes.
That's wild.
Yeah, like obviously through a couple of years, but the mental and inside transformation that I've done, I think is way more important. And it was the knock-on effect. The physical transformation was the knock-on effect of the
internal.
Yeah, absolutely. More so. But speaking of you and how much you've, you know, come throughout your career, you've gone from TV hosting, radio, book, podcast.
Yeah.
And on your podcast, you interview a lot of sex workers, which we were talking about prior. I guess what's one of the conversations that has stuck with you that you've had? I mean, you've probably had
hundreds and
hundreds and hundreds. But something that really, really sticks out to you that
so when you talk sex workers, we're talking the deep and the deeper. And that is my labor of love. That's the thing that fuels this incessant curiosity in me. And I would say it has shaped me, holding space for people and their trauma, because it's not just sex workers, it's, you know, people that have children that have grown up that have survived trafficking, it's pedophile hunters, it's oh my gosh, people that their parents were killed in the Port Arthur massacre. There's so much sadness, yet so much resilience. But the ones that stay with me, that have changed me, are the ones around sexual abuse to children, because it's impacted me as a mother. It's stopped me, like they'll never ever have a sleepover. There's things, I walk into rooms and I know the statistics in a school of how many people are currently being sexually assaulted, children. And so it's tarnished me. Do you know what I mean? I can't not know the things that I know, and I wouldn't change it, but I'm just like, it's a lot. Yeah. And then with Arise, which is such a different podcast, but I would say the things that stay with me, because it's such a neuroscience / spiritual / well-being space, is how I'm going to just pull it all together.
Yes, let's go through your book.
But I think I've
just started reading it, by the way.
The understanding that this is not new. All these conversations that we're having on Arise, all the neuroscientists, all the gurus, all the spiritual people, all the celebrity, nothing is new. We're just coming home to ourselves. We get lost along the way.
Yeah.
And then we have the ability to learn things that bring us back to ourselves. So I think for me, it's not necessarily anyone in the podcast, but I feel like only this year, which sounds insane, I've landed in my life. And that is like the most wonderful thing that I could ever feel, is I wanted all of the things and I created all of the things and I worked for the things and I surrendered and I trusted, and now I've got them. I would just constantly hustle for more things. I was never satisfied. I was never present. I was never relishing, and now I relish. Like I love.
Yeah.
Like you and I, this is the most important moment for me right now. Like it's us connecting.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Being present in this moment.
Yeah. And like how I feel having this conversation with you. It's not about money or status or clothing or cars or articles or billboards. It's just about the connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we met obviously a week ago or so. First time ever.
Yeah.
And now you're here. Like that's the universe bringing us together.
Yes.
Really. You are such a big advocate for manifesting. I'm very much so like into that. And I think throughout my breakup, I definitely wanted to surrender a lot to, you know, being and just feeling that pain and just going through it so that I could get through that phase of my life. Tell us about like manifesting and how much that has helped you and what has it like brought you? Like some people think it's like, that juju stuff and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't believe in that. But I truly do. And I want to hear your take on it.
Yeah. So I like to call it co-creating. And why I say that is I feel like we are equally responsible to align ourselves, prepare ourselves, prime ourselves, meaning looking at the way in which we feel about ourselves, how deserving we are, any blocks that we have from our parents, from our exes, doing the work, as well as taking action for the thing that you want. It's not just going to land in your lap because you make a vision board or because you write some affirmations and you walk around, right? Like,
Yeah.
And I think people really think lucky girl syndrome is that. No. They are turning up. They are starting their day with intention. They are going to every meeting feeling fully connected. They are open to opportunities coming everywhere, even if it's outside of the strategy or realm of which they think it is. And then trusting. Like that's the biggest thing. You think you know what is best for you. We don't know. We have no idea, right? Like let go, let God.
Yeah.
He, she knows exactly what your soul's purpose is and what lessons, what growth it needs in this lifetime. So we have this idea of, oh, I'm 27. I want to get married to a really rich guy and I want to have this house and I want to do this and blah, 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 blah. And maybe you do. And then betrayal happens. Then a breakdown happens. Then you lose all of the things. And then you're like, why is this happening? That's not what I wanted. That's not what I co-created. It's like, no, baby, there's a divine redirect for your soul. There needed to be something that you saw. So in 3 years' time, you find your sexuality. Maybe you're not even into men. Maybe, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's all of this opportunity in life. But if you're fixed on what things look like, you miss out completely. And when I started to let go of my agenda, this is when this all happened. So now my life is the version that I would have loved to have lived for the past 20 years, but I needed a different course to get me here.
You are like truly speaking to me right now. Oh my God. Everything that you just said, like that was exactly it for me. My parents put you through uni, buy the house, marry the guy, have the kids. That was me. When I got into a couple of months into my marriage, I was like, wait, is this it? Is this
that's
what
the most
I'm
terrifying
doing?
thing.
Exactly. I'm like, this isn't like
Have
I'm
you had
missing
one
something.
marriage?
One marriage.
Okay, yes, just checking. I just wanted to know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, and that was a couple of years ago. So I was like, what more is there for me in life? I felt like I lost myself, my identity, and I just needed to go through all of that pain to then come out on the other side and trust that there was a redirection for me and trust that I was just wanting something that wasn't for
you.
me.
And when we look back at that, right, in retrospect, you're able to go, oh, I did what society said. Oh, I did what my mum wanted. Oh, I did what Auntie Sue wanted. Oh, I did the thing because I wanted to belong. And there's no shame. This is the thing about all of this. We have to love the version of you that went through all of it. She just did what she thought she had to do to survive. But then you stop and you're like, oh, my darling, my little me was just trying to get through. And I abandoned myself for others all the time, constantly. And then I was left with this life that everyone else wanted for me, but I'm living in it and I don't want it. It's like, what a injustice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's so sad, but I'm going to tell you the majority of people live like that because
they
it's
just accept
safe
it.
and it's small and it's harder to do the thing you did, to break it all down, to disappoint people, to disappoint yourself, to stand in the fire. That is confronting and it's awful. So we'll stay in the unhappy marriage. We'll have kids even though we're unhappily married. We'll do the things. Maybe we'll fuck on the side. Maybe we'll drink too much. Maybe we'll online shop, whatever it is, to fill the void and never actually land in your life. Never be truly joyful in your life. You are robbing yourself.
Yeah.
And so I'm so passionate about everybody landing in their own lives, the life that they want.
Do you feel that it takes a catastrophic event for people? No?
No, because it's helpful.
Yeah. It's a helpful
it propels.
push. Yeah.
It
exactly.
propels.
But do you feel like, okay, if someone's just comfortable, how do they say, okay, you know what, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and get uncomfortable. I'm going to wake up and totally 180 my life.
Because they are comfortable, but within the comfortableness is like true discomfort. So they're lying, right?
Yeah.
And when everything is still, when they're not doom scrolling, when they're not eating the cake or having sex or whatever it is that is distracting them, they're like, like you said, something's missing. If you're curious enough about something is missing, you're right. It's a two-way path. Someone's going to go like, oh, I don't want to think about that. Don't want to deal with that. I just want to live in my uncomfortable, comfortable life. Or you're going to go, actually, I saw someone online or I heard someone on this podcast and I want to know more. Actually, I'm going to turn up to that workshop. Actually, I'm going to meet other people outside of my community to find out if I'm crazy. Because this is what's really strange is our friendships, our families, they want the best for us, but it's also what they want. And sometimes you need to break past that and go outside of your normal environment to find your actual tribe. And I never had that. So I built my own tribe so they all have each other. Because you're like, am I alone in this? Like, I feel crazy. And they're like, you're not alone. I'm crazy too. And like, can we do this? Can we hold hands? Can I celebrate this for you? Can I hold you through this? That's what you need instead of feeling like you're constantly letting people down.
Yeah.
So you stay stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I want to be a part of that tribe.
Yeah. Come in. They're the most, can I tell you, these women, like it's the best part. And they all have each other.
Yeah.
And they are bonded. And they are audacious in their choices now because they have each other and they're accountable. You know, before when you slip back, you go to a workshop or you listen to an audiobook and then you slip back into your life.
Yeah.
You know that happens?
Yeah. You're motivated
I'm so
for a little bit.
I'm going to be a vegan.
Exactly,
and then, fuck, that's tricky. You need to have accountability and you need to have community for the things to sustain.
Yeah. Consistency as well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
And the willing to be in the discomfort.
Yeah.
Yuck.
It is. But we're here now.
We're here.
I wouldn't be here without that as well.
And like the gratitude you have for that, right? Like you knew that he wasn't for you. And somehow he still is in your life in a way that makes sense, but it's not in that way.
Yeah. This is interesting. He was meant to be here, but not.
He's not here.
And we're speaking about this. This is like, it's meant to be.
I'd be so interested to know his perspective, you know, and his version.
Yeah. It's very different to mine.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
His truth and your truth, and there's truth in the middle.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. But speaking of marriages then.
Yes.
You and Benji. So there was an article that I read.
So silly.
The perfect marriage.
Yeah. Which is like.
What is perfect?
That is so untrue.
How do you feel about that?
That is so untrue. Anyone that is in partnership with anyone knows that nothing is perfect ever. And I was just like, oh, that is actually going to bring out a lot of hatred in people. People are not going to be happy about that. Yeah. Like that's going to bring out the worst in people. I don't think that. I don't believe that. But he is premium.
He's perfect for you.
This man is my absolute opposite. We have very little in common. But he is the most supportive, generous, kind, loving, just incredible human I've ever met. That he's my true gift. He's just a privilege to be with. And we've somehow managed to have a healthy marriage, not a perfect marriage.
Yeah.
And that's required a lot of difficult conversations. We've had therapy for 16 years on and off. He's willing to see someone if he needs to. I still do if I need to. And he's a very dedicated father. That for me was so important, and healed a lot for me watching especially my daughter with my husband.
Yeah.
There was loss that came up for me that I didn't get that safety or that love or that connection or commitment. But then I've broken the generational trauma.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
so he is just like, and I still find him so sexy. Like I just,
oh my God,
I love him
and
so
I love
much.
that you have that relationship.
Yeah, he's special.
And yeah, for me as well, like you think when you're with someone, you just like, okay, this is it. I'll just accept all their flaws. I'll just, accept that this relationship.
This is love.
Yeah,
yes.
This is it. But when I found Aaron, that same, everything that you spoke about is just like, wow, there's a person out there like this. How do you even
around?
exist?
Like I can meet you. Like
Yeah.
it's so, do you know how unique that is to be in the same country or the same place at the same time to meet each other?
Yeah.
Is really the most profound thing because you can bang around
Yeah.
with meeting frogs and kissing frogs your whole life like that. The gratitude for us, the divine timing to be together, to find each other. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, Aaron and Benji, similar athletes.
Yes.
How was that? Like, let's get into that a little bit.
Which part? Yeah. Oh my God, so much.
So when Aaron has a bad game or a loss, I know 24 hours. Give him 24 hours.
Okay.
Was
he
that
grumpy or
not
like
grumpy? Just
avoidant?
Like I want him to process all of that. You know how intense and crazy that can be.
Yes.
So I know 24 hours, don't talk to him unless he talks to me. And most of the time he's playing overseas. So
oh, wow.
Yeah, so
that's
I'm
hard.
not. Yeah, very hard. So we have long distance, probably like 10 months in the year sometimes.
Oh my gosh.
But we make it work. It's amazing.
Especially if you're an independent woman and you love your own space and love your own bed and love your own everything.
My whole space. Yeah. I love it. But yeah, how, I guess for you when he was playing and stuff like that, how was that? Like,
look, it's very time consuming, isn't it? Because you can't bring up any arguments like the day before the game, the day of the game, the day after the game. That's half a week. You can't like bring up a disagreement. Yeah. So I would get very frustrated and sometimes, not listen to that. I have zero interest in sport. So it's always been, I guess, a relief for him that I don't actually know what went wrong. I don't know what happened. I'd rather talk about something else. I think for him, it allows him to move on a lot more quickly. But we've been doing it for so long now that I also, I'm able to help shift his energy if he needs it. Like I'm all about us processing, that. Like I don't want him to put it under the rug. But also always remember how privileged you are to be in the position you're in. Don't forget, because things are hard, how amazing this opportunity is.
Yeah.
I think that's what people get caught up in is the loss or the difficulty. It's like you get the opportunity to have a loss.
Yeah,
you get the
even play.
Like that is, you need to go back to basics every time. So things have gotten more interesting because now he's coaching.
Yes. How's that? Is that a different schedule?
Such a different, well, it's not necessarily a different schedule, but I can talk to him now about it because we're talking dynamics, we're talking people, we're talking emotional intelligence, we're talking things that I love to talk about. Yeah. And he and I, it's really fun now. Like I did 16 years of not talking to him or 14 years of not talking to him about his work and now we can talk.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can be valuable.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, and vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. I guess for me with Aaron playing and stuff, I always like look at it and be like, okay, I have zero interest in sport. Like I grew up interested in business and interested in dancing. I was a dancer for a lot of my life as well. So sport for me is just so foreign. Like I can't even sit there unless he's playing.
And you're kind of just watching him. You're not watching the whole thing.
Yeah. He'll be like, did you see that? Did you see that tackle? I'm like, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so interesting when opposites attract, right? So it's great that you can have that sort of dynamic and know that now you provide value to what he does and he can have that conversation with you.
And I think it's just a very unique, like we do lots of things that are unconventional, right? Like we don't sleep in the same room. We haven't for the last 14 years. I don't share a bathroom with him, wardrobe.
Why is that?
There's a couple of reasons. I'm a reflector, so I don't know if you know much about human design.
No. Tell us.
We can send a link in the bottom of the thing so people can figure them out. But I'm 1% of the population, which is called a reflector, which feels everyone's energy. So people come to me to learn about themselves.
Okay.
So when I'm sleeping, I can't have people in my bed. It's too disruptive for my energy. But back then, it started because he was snoring and we were just not compatible unconsciously.
Yes.
And then just the way he likes to use his space and, boys and I don't want that to bring my energy down. I don't want to be narky. I don't want to be naggy. Like, let me be in my higher self, in my beautiful, I always get the master. Do you know what? He's such a king.
Love that.
And it's beautiful. It's mine. It's me. It's all of my stuff. I don't have to look at someone's skid marks or, do you know what I mean? Clipping shavings and just do you over there.
Yeah.
And it's always worked for us.
Wow.
And I think that's actually probably why it's still so sexy is because
you don't see the
yucky bits.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want it and snoring in the middle of the night or me resenting you because you're taking up my space or morning breath or whatever. I just don't have to deal.
I'm very much like that. I was very different with Jono, not to compare relationships, but he saw everything.
All of you.
All the bad things.
And that's
me.
okay. He's been in the birthing suite. He saw it all.
Okay.
Girl.
Yeah.
He's seen it all, but I've never farted in front of him.
I haven't in front of Aaron. And
Never.
I haven't gone to the bathroom in front of him. I turn the tap on when I pee, even to that point.
PP. Okay. Even PP. Okay.
We're 3 years in now.
But you also only see each other 2 times. It's a 6 month in a 3-year period.
Exactly. So when he's here, it's very and I'm am I crazy? Am I being too overprotective of what he sees of me or what I'm allowing?
Maybe. It's whatever feels good.
Yeah. Well, I feel good that he thinks that, I smell like roses all the time.
And there's one day where it's not going to be true.
Exactly.
Benji knows, he knows it all. He knows when I'm on my bleed. He knows all of the things, right? Yeah. But there's parts I think sleep to me is so sacred and I'm just not willing to sacrifice that. It's hard because my daughter, so he co-slept with my son for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then my son is now in his own room. He's now co-sleeping with my almost 4-year-old. So when he's away, which is every other weekend, she's in my bed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I have to suffer, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So when we met, we had a very intense conversation, but you said about children, you asked me about children, and I said I don't. And you said I was there. I had to sort of give myself, and Benji gave you the kind of the ultimatum to be you're going to have it or this isn't going to work.
The conversation was more when we got married, his version is that I said I wanted children. I don't remember that.
Mm.
And then as we got further into the marriage, I think we were 4 years in and I just was never ready.
Mm-hmm.
He was what's happening? And I said, well, I saw this really amazing documentary that said people that have children are more unhappy than married people that don't. And he was like, well, is that how you feel? And I said, maybe. And he said, well, you said to me that we were having children. And if that's not true, you need to give me the opportunity to make a choice around that.
Yeah.
And I was it was so full on.
Yeah.
And
so
how
long was this into your relationship?
8 years into our relationship, maybe 4 years into our marriage.
Okay. So he's solid.
You guys are solid.
Yeah.
And I had some apprehension because he still had behaviors of someone that to me didn't seem like a father. He was still with the boys, on the weekends after the games and doing the things, which is so fine.
Yeah.
But I knew the type of person I was. I needed a dedication to the family unit. It wasn't just me at home breastfeeding, you're dilly-dallying around. We are both in this.
Yeah.
And so I had to have therapy to work through emetophobia, which is a severe phobia of vomit around kids.
Is that a thing?
It's a real thing.
Oh my God.
It's a really, I'm actually still doing therapy on it now. I'm doing a new therapy called
EMDR?
No,
No?
ERP.
Okay.
Exposure response prevention, different to EMDR. I've done
Okay,
EMDR too.
okay,
I've
yeah.
done all the therapies.
Okay.
Which has changed my life. It's been amazing.
Mhm.
But so I was working on that. I was looking at why I had these blocks around having kids. A lot of it was around my mum dying.
Okay.
A lot of it was around the phobia. A lot of it was around not wanting to be a single mother, like all of the things.
Of course.
And then his stuff around like losing his freedom and losing his, like
Yeah.
we had to explore that. And then there were really honest conversations of what it looked like physically, every day, logistics of what coming home with a baby would look like. And so when we came home, obviously in our separate rooms, the baby slept in the cot in his room. Babies are so noisy.
Yeah.
When the baby would wake up, he would bring the baby to me. I would go feed it, change it, wrap it, swaddle it, put it back in his room, right? And we did that through the whole newborn stage. People think that he's this extraordinary husband and father, and he is, but he's also just sharing the load. I went to work 7 weeks postpartum like an idiot because I had something to prove.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And he has always, and still to this day, we alternate doing school pickup. He prepares, we generally have dinner prepared, but he'll cook it. He'll bathe the kids. He'll wash the dishes. He puts them both to bed.
Wow.
He loves that. I do all of the mental load. I do all of the physical, like going to all the school stuff and doing the canteen and
Yeah.
like, so we have this perfect balance for us, but we had to figure it out and be really honest about what that looked like.
Wow. No, it just works for you guys. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know our roles.
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
really, really important. I think lots of people expect the mother to do and sacrifice all of herself.
Yeah.
We travel separately with our friends. We travel together. We have our own alone things. But every week it's important. He goes out and plays golf for the first 6 hours on a Saturday. We tag team. I go have a fabulous lunch with friends and go back to someone's house and watch a scary movie or something, come home. And so the kids see us living independently and then see us together as a family unit too.
Which is so important because you can sort of get in, and I definitely know that Jono and I had a codependent relationship.
Yeah.
I did not know who I was. I think he has told me he didn't know who he was without me. So it was just Jono and Amy. That's it. Like never get Jono without Amy. Like we were a package deal.
Yeah.
Always.
It's not healthy.
It's not
I think
healthy
people
at all.
think that's love, but it's fear.
Yeah.
And people are very triggered, I think, by the way which Benji and I are in partnership because it's very different.
It is.
And they feel challenged by that. But that's not my problem. It really works. It works for us. I was speaking recently in Brisbane at the Goop Summit, and I was with one of the other speakers in the car, and I was talking about how often we have sex.
Yeah.
And the way in which we can support each other, with outside help coming in to support us with the kids so we can still be our own people. And she was like, I would say 99% of the people I know don't do that. They don't prioritize themselves, their marriage, their sanity, their health. It's all for the children. And if you don't do that, you look selfish.
Yeah.
Right? I know what I need to thrive. I've worked that out. And for a lot of time, I felt mum guilt for being like, I really want to get a nanny over here at 7 so I can meditate and walk. Like that seems wasteful for a lot of people. Why are you going to spend that much money to go for a walk or go train and meditate, get dressed, and then have breakfast with the kids and train and take them to school, right? Yeah. What it did for me, it's priceless.
Absolutely.
But I value that. There's no, like, money's such a funny concept, right? Like it's all energy for me. If that thing is giving me back tenfold, it's worth all the money in the world.
Absolutely.
More than a bag or a car. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like it's transitioned now what I think is valuable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I see that a lot, through my, I guess, people that I've been around with. It's all like quite materialistic and things like that. But then, I have a Sarah, the gym. And when I see someone, invest in their health and invest in something for themselves, I'm just like, that's the most incredible and most invaluable thing that you could ever put a value to. Like you could never say that was a waste of money
Ever.
because you're investing in you. And I feel that what you're saying as well, I would be the same. Cleaners, for example, we live in an apartment and I'm like, if I was to clean this to the standard that I would want it to be cleaned, it would take me forever. And I just don't have that. They come in 1 hour a week and I'm like, cool, that is valuable to me. And I think it is about like, you know, people looking at things that sort of make their life
It's
so
so
much
funny,
easier.
isn't it?
It
Because
is.
so we have this membership, right, within it's a Rise, and it's a membership. And it was at one point $79 a month because there were tiers. And then I was like, no, the economy, people need to access it. So it's half the price now.
Mhm.
For $9 a week, the fact that you could meet your community, do a course on how to shift your mindset. There's all of the workshops, and people, it's not even the $9, it's that they don't want to give themselves 30 minutes to stop.
Yeah.
They don't even know where to begin. It's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like it's all there.
Yeah.
I will make the resources and resources and the resources so you can access it, but I can't do the work for you.
Yeah.
And so it's a really interesting concept that we want to have fancy things, cars, houses, bags, shoes, all of the things. And then when you look underneath it, and I know you'd know that these people are the most deeply unhappy.
Yeah.
They're vacuous. They're so confused. They're thinking that all of the bits on show make them fit into a club that's valuable. I don't want to be in that club anymore. I used to, for sure, and I still have beautiful things that I'm not going to throw out, but I don't find my value in the way people perceive me anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so much more than the way the shell looks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want that for other people, that you don't need the other things for people to acknowledge or value you. Like you don't need it. It's a trick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a scheme.
Yeah. No, for sure. So we do something before we wrap up everything. We do something called high-low Castano. And high is obviously your high for the week. Low is your low of the week. And then Castano is something random, funny, a surprise that you experience throughout the week. So whatever you want to start with.
What day is it?
It is a Wednesday.
Okay.
So let's go from Wednesday to Wednesday.
Okay, yes. From now on?
Yeah.
Okay. So my high of the week is for sure going to be this workshop in person with people on Sunday. That's where I feel like my light of my life. Also the high every day is my kids are in my bed first thing in the morning, and it is like.
So they come in and wake you up?
I call them in.
Okay, yeah.
So Benji's usually
like,
feeding them and
now.
I'm like, come.
Yeah.
And
do they come with a tea? Because I know
no,
you don't drink coffee.
I don't want no tea.
Nothing?
It's just them because it's chaos.
Okay.
And it's hugs, and my daughter usually picks up my book and starts making up stories with it, and my son and I snuggle, and it's honestly like a religious moment. It's so beautiful and special and spiritual having them in the bed, like the energy that I start the day on. A low. You know what? I haven't trained this week. I've been feeling so low energy from, I think it's the full moon. And so it's a new way for me where I have PT tomorrow and I'm like, I don't know. I'm valuing rest, which is now sacrificing me physically, like my strength. I need to build it all back up.
Yeah.
So I'd say my low is like missing out on movement because I'm feeling energetically depleted.
Yeah. But it's about listening to your body and what it wants
but I'm
right
really
now.
ready to get back.
Yeah.
You know, when it's been like.
Yeah.
I would say, did you say weird, wonderful, whatever?
Weird, wonderful, surprise, something that shocked you.
I'm going to say, so tomorrow night, I'm supposed to go to Fashion Week.
Okay, yeah. That's all happening this week. I've said no to everything.
And there's a part of me really don't want to go. And there's value in it and there's not. And there's just energetically, it's such a no. And I'm exploring that, you know, for me, I love creatives and I love supporting people and their dreams, but the energy around that can feel sometimes judgmental and lots of comparison and lots of ego, and I just don't know if I'm best placed there. So that's an interesting part of me. I don't know if I'm going. I may not still.
I'll be following your stories to see
if
you
I
do.
go. It's an interesting thing, and I never shame anything. I just explore it, which is really interesting. So I might go and then hate it, and that's the lesson, or I might not go and feel okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
But that's the kind of thing I'm like, I feel like I've outgrown that, a little hermit crab in its shell. I've outgrown that bit. But I still love to support creatives. So I'm trying to find my way through that.
Yeah. No, I get that. I truly get that due to, I think when I took on the business and wanted to start the business, I didn't realize how much effort and how much energy it takes to show up every single day.
And that's before you even do your work.
Exactly.
That's why I'm tired.
Yeah. I'm constantly tired. I have a battery and I feel like it's always, well, not always, but it gets to like 33% and I'm like, sorry guys, I'm out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had plans to go to someone was speaking tonight. I've cancelled that. I really love being alone so much. And when people are like, let's go out, or it was summer, let's go to the beach. I'm like, I have a cinema at my house and I just want to be in the cinema in the dark watching something fascinating and having snacks.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's
something's
me.
changed.
Yeah.
I just retreating and holding space for myself so I can be all of this for everyone else, I guess is where the balance is now.
Yeah. Yeah, for now.
For now.
It might change.
It will.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's important to be like aware of yourself and aware of what you're feeling and what's going to make you
honoring
feel.
that. We never do that. We're the people pleaser of what are they going to think, or I'm going to let them down. It doesn't matter anymore. No one cares that much.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
For coming on our podcast our podcast, but also my episode today, my solo episode with you.
It was meant to be.
It was definitely. Is there anything you want to share before we leave? Leave our viewers with something.
What? Yeah. Because I really want to make sure people get the value, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but if you feel called to read the book, the best places to buy them for cheaper is Amazon and Big W, right? Okay. You're going to save like $15. They're going to kill me. And then if you have Spotify Premium, you can get it for free as an audiobook.
Oh, wow.
And I just feel like I don't make anything from this, but because it's already all out there, but I'm really passionate about people connecting with who they truly are and living the life that they deserve, like truly living it. So yeah, there are some bits that I'll definitely get in trouble for, but it'll be worth it.
I love that. And you narrated your own audiobook as well. So that would be
It's actually really good. It's funny
to listen to. Okay.
But
yeah,
it's
I'm going to
really
listen
good.
to
I
it.
cry a bit in it. It's very confronting to read those things, but and there's a QR code in there. So you've got all of these resources, you've got meditations, you've got me. I'm not leaving you out there hanging, like, that accountability, consistency piece, like you've got it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm passionate about
Thank you so
that.
much. Thank you so much for joining us here. And I love that. I love that chat so much.
Yeah, so do I.
And we should come on yours.
Yes.
I can't wait. At one time. Yay.
I love that.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.